Hello everybody and welcome back to another Vintage Thursday. So today, as you have seen, we are back on the 550 again. We need to do a little bit of a kind of a run-in repair, a bit of an unplanned little leaky thing has occurred. So since the 550 came, you have seen it doing some water pumping in a slurry video, and it's done all the drilling. You've seen the drilling video. So it's done that, so it's done a little bit of work. The actual hour meter doesn't work at the minute, so I can't tell you how much it's done, but it's done a bit. And now we've developed this little issue. So if we just take a look at the right hand side of the engine, or you can see here, we've got a big oil stain, or oil leak is creating a stain down the block. So there's a few places it could come from, and there are some oil feed pipes, external feed pipes here, but they're all dry both ends. The next potential leak is right up in on the end of my finger, is the drive for the hour meter. So the hour meter is driven off the back of the camshaft, which runs inside of here. So in there, on the end of, there's a plate on the end of the block, and inside there is an oil seal and a gasket. So it's looking to me quite a lot like that is where the leak is coming from, because if I get my hand in there and rub kind of the housing of that seal, it's wet and oily. So it's a fair bet that is our problem. So it's not a massive problem. It should be hopefully easily solved. It will be a little complicated by the fact we've got the fuel filter on the way, but we can just undo the bolts, drop it down, and then we will. So what we've got to do is take off the cable that drives through the hour clock, and then there's 3 bolts holding a little aluminium housing, and in that housing is the seal. Now, purely by chance, I happen to have an oil seal, because this same seal went on the 35, I reckon 6 years ago. Purely by error, I actually ordered 2 seals at the same time rather than only one. So that worked out well in the end. So we've got one now. And so I think the first thing we'll do, just drop off these 2 bolts out the housing. Hopefully that'll kind of hang down a little bit out of the way then. Bring that plate out, swap the seal, clean it all up. I don't have a gasket, so we'll put a bit of silicone on the gasket face, and hopefully that should cure our leak. So while we're here in the area fiddling with the fuel filter, you may remember back before Christmas, well, I did the job before Christmas, I can't remember when the video came out, and when we fitted this filter, this tractor has, or did have, do you call it infected diesel? It had diesel bug in the tank. So what we did, we flushed the tank out, put this filter on. I said we would give it a few tankfuls through after we put some treatment in to hopefully kill it off and prevent any future I don't know, any future recurrence, we'll call it. And what I said, we would run this filter for a few tankfuls and swap it out. So that's what we're going to do today. It'll be interesting to take that off, see what is caught in the top of that filter. Is it full of gunge and slime? And we'll find out. So first job, drop the filter off out of the way, pull that plate off. You're not going to see a lot, so we'll probably do that on fast forward, you know, what do they call it? So we'll do that on a time lapse, and hopefully next thing you'll see, we'll pull that plate out and change the seal. Okay, so here we are. Here is our plate. So this is where the camshaft runs. Here is the seal. Here is the fitting for the tacho clock. The little drive shaft runs up through the middle and it screws on. Looking at it, you probably can't see on the camera, but to me, the seal actually looks okay. It appears our leak was coming from here. Gasket failure. And there is some goo in there as well, so whether somebody's tried to fix it before and the goo has give up, but we've got the seal, so we'll bung a new one in while we're this close. But I don't think that was our issue. I think the problem was probably just leaking past the gasket. Okay, so here we are, all cleaned up now. So there is actually in here, so that's the way up it sits in the engine. Here you can just see, hopefully, little black spot there. That is actually a hole, a drain hole, that goes into this cavity here. So the oil seal is here. If the oil seal fails, that little should be a drain hole that will allow the oil to run out rather than going up inside the clock. So we'll just stick a drill bit up through there just to make sure, because it wasn't, when I was cleaning it, it wasn't clean, it wasn't clear. But hopefully now you should see through it. So that's what that little hole's there for, to protect the clock when the seal fails. But like I said, although it was blocked, I don't believe this seal has failed. Okay, so we'll just pop the seal out. So there's the old seal. It is pretty hard actually. So it's probably a little while, quite old now. Well worth changing. And clean out for the seal to sit. Okay, so here's the new seal. As always, the seal, the spring in the seal always faces the oil, so it will go in that way, because we are looking at it from the inside of the engine. So just gently push it in. Okay, so there we go. We now have, can't see through it, but there's a clear drain hole. Should just, there you are, you can see through now. And our new seal, nice and flush. Right, so we're ready for reassembly. All we've got to do is clean off the back of the block, and then we're ready to go. So again, you ain't going to see none of this. Okay, so first off we will take our seal and put a little bit of oil around the sealing face to help the end of the camshaft just slip in nice and easy. And then we'll put our silicone just a bit around the edge, to give us our seal. Even if I had a gasket, I would put this on anyway, just as a little bit of extra. Final little clean. Make sure it goes on the right way up, and it will go on with a little twist just to help the seal go over the shaft. So I can do it all without dropping it. Goes. Get a bolt in. So bolts are all tight. We're just putting the nut back on for the drive cable for the clock. And there we go, hopefully that is job done. So all we've got to do now, put the filter back up, change the element out, bleed it through. We'll leave it a little bit before we start up, just to let this silicone go off. It is a warm day, so hopefully it won't take too long. Let's get the filter done. Okay, so here we go for the filter. Ooh, got some mankiness in the bowl. Here we go for the... Yeah, look at that. That was well overdue a change. Right. Time for a bit of clean up of the bowl. See, it's all kind of milky and gooey in there. That's not pretty. Right, so we'll whip off the O-rings. Not really a great deal of point, but they do have bits of mankiness on them. So they're not wore out by anyway, but do what we can to keep everything clean in there. Get rid of that horrible slimy stuff. Just make sure the O-ring sits up in there nice and flat. Give the bowl a wash as well. Another O-ring on the bottom. Too many places to put spanners down. Okay, so regular viewers will know this is not a Perkins engine in here, and the lift pump on a Perkins would be here. So we've got to go around to the far side, prime it by sucking the whole fuel system through the filter rather than pressurising it, undoing the bleed screw and pushing the air out. So I'll go around and pump. If you shout when the bowl's full up, then I'll know it's working. So there we go, new seal in and a new filter in, and we have got rid of that horrible manky gunge that was in the old filter. So hopefully we are still putting that stuff in the fuel tank to kill off the bugs, and hopefully you know, we'll do another filter change in a couple of months time, and I dare say that one will be just as bad. But hopefully as time goes on, a few more changes, eventually we'll have flushed it out of the tank, because the stuff we put in should have killed it. So it shouldn't be multiplying anymore, so it should just come through the system, get caught in the filter, and eventually the tank should be clean, hopefully. Anyway, well, I think that's what happens. So there we go. I will say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.